Hi. Brian, back in the car again from ATH Network, aka Binge Buddies. Um, Saw a movie this weekend, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it. It's time for driving thoughts on Evil Dead Burn. I'll spend the first 2 minutes or so trying to talk mostly spoiler free, and after that, I'm going to dive headfirst into spoilers. So I'll give you a good warning before I jump into it. But Evil Dead Burn came out this past weekend. It was pretty hyped, I'd say. Not well marketed. Like, I know a lot of people who didn't even know it was coming out until basically it was out. But if you'd, I don't think it was that. Like, I live in LA, so it's a little bit tougher to fully say if things were well marketed or not, because everything is everywhere here. But from what I heard, the general audience didn't really know this one was coming, and more people are talking about Wrath than they are Burn. Yada 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 yada. Either way, this one came out. Not a huge splash in the box office, but really nothing is right now if it's not Toy Story, so I don't really put too much blame on that. It's a story of familial abuse being told through Deadites, or Deadites-ish. The story to me wasn't that particularly phenomenal. It wasn't like, it didn't really grab me much. I thought the movie overall was kind of bland, which is weird to say for an Evil Dead movie. The violence is violent. The Deadites are mean, and the film is just very, very dark. And to a point where I didn't really have fun with it. And there's something that I love about Evil Dead, and that's when you're watching it, it has this cringe with a smile aspect to it that not a lot of people can pull off. And when it works, you have something that is just pure magic, like Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, even 2013, even Rise to an extent had those moments. This one, at least in my opinion, didn't really have any of them. This one was just mean, and boy was it mean. I don't know, maybe I've been kind of soured by horror movies too much, but it's not really what I want from Evil Dead, personally. Like, I get that people might be really into it. It didn't really work for me. I thought the movie overall was kind of a chore to get through. I didn't find any of the characters really likable. I thought the main character, Alice, was mostly likable, but compared to like Mia in 2013, or I'm forgetting her name from Rise, she just didn't have it as much, and that's fine. It didn't make it more watchable. Whereas like you go to like the 2013 Evil Dead or the original Evil Deads, everyone in the house is a likable person, and you kind of root for them. In this one, I wasn't really rooting for any of them. Even Alice, to an extent, I wasn't really rooting for, which is, it's okay. You don't need to love everybody in the horror movie, but I kind of wanted someone to anchor me, and Alice was mostly an anchor. She was there, but she was also just getting shit on so hard constantly before the Deadites even showed up. It was like you kind of need that moment of grounding, like that moment in 2013 with Mia and her brother out on the car in the back, where you can see like when this girl's not in the shit, she is a good person, and you want her to be well. You want this idea of detoxing in the most evil cabin known to the fucking planet to be a successful detox. There really wasn't that moment for me in this one. The husband is just an outright fuckhead, and the rest of the family are outright fuckheads. And that's really all I can say before I start spoiling this thing. If you're interested in seeing an Evil Dead movie, go ahead. I mean, the franchise needs your love. These things are not made terribly expensive, so it doesn't need a lot to be successful. And I know it kind of bombed this weekend, but I still think it'll be okay in the long run. Wrath is, I think, already made or being almost done, so that one's still coming no matter what. There's no stakes on this one, and all movies play better in theaters, so if you have a chance to see it, obviously, I'd recommend going to see it. But that's if you're an Evil Dead fan. If you're not an Evil Dead fan, this one gets a big old pass from me. Like, I don't think there's anything really there. As far as horror movies go, it's just kind of mean. But like when it comes to mean horror movies, I usually want a bit of camp with them. Like Terrifier 2 to me is a good balance of like ridiculously mean, very campy. The original Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead 2013, I've already mentioned those, but like there's something this one just doesn't have in that secret sauce. And if you're not an Evil Dead fan and you're not trying to see where the franchise is going, doing your homework for the next one, which is always kind of an annoying way to make films, but thank you, Marvel, that's where we are these days. If that's not you, go ahead and skip it. All right, so spoiler warning, ding ding. I'm going to talk a little bit about the violence. I'm going to break down some of the gore. I'm going to talk a little bit about the plot and things that just overall didn't work for me. But I'm going to start with the number one thing that did not work for me, even though I've heard that it's practical. Watching it, I don't know how it was practical because it looked like CGI nonsense. It's the husband who comes back in the end as the big crispy Vecna. It just ruined the end of the movie for me. Like, it felt like a Resident Evil boss fight. You know, like the end of every Resident Evil game, it goes from being like little zombies in hallways to like big lickers to bigger things to what in the fuck is that? And it just almost like kind of breaks the not realism of a Resident Evil game. This one had the same thing. Having this dude just show back up after being burned to death in the beginning of the movie as this like crispy corpse. Wow, it didn't work for me. It didn't work for me at all. Like having like this head deadite thing show up and like your brother, your husband is coming. No, it didn't work for me at all. I thought he looked bad. I thought the action sequence wasn't very good, especially compared to some of the other action sequences in the movie that are very, very good. He just kind of ruined it. Like I was kind of already on the fence mostly the way through the movie. Pretty much from the moment they just stabbed the fuck out of the dog, which like I'm not out here saying that like dogs don't get hurt in horror movies or even action movies or really any movies. Like that, it happens, obviously. It happens in one of my favorite movies of all time. Terminator 2. Fucking T-1000 kills a dog. But this one just, it felt, you know, that like thing of like when you're like, you talk to like a 13-year-old kid who wants to say fuck every other word to prove how much they can say fuck and to make the grossest joke possible to prove that they can make the grossest joke possible. I felt like this director was doing that with the dog kill. Like, look at how much I can fucking kill this dog. And it was dumb. It was shock value for the sake of shock value, which I know Evil Dead has a lot of. I get that. But this one just didn't work. And the violence in general just kind of didn't work for me. Like, it was well done. It was well executed, and I'm all here for that. But it also had this, like, I don't know how to describe it without just kind of breaking down a few of them. So like the beginning of the movie, you have a guy who gets like fish hooks to the face, ripped into the water for the bookend from the last movie to rip him in half. You don't see any of it. You see his ripped in half body. You see the fish hooks in the face, but you don't really see any of the violence. You just see the after effects of it. And then his friend gets pulled underwater and boiled. And then like you see like his hand get ripped off a little bit, but like not that violent. In the grand scheme of things, I understand what I'm describing is horrifically violent. And then the husband gets burned alive in a car, but you don't really see much of it. He just kind of screams for a second. End of that. Basically what I'm getting at is that the male violence in this movie, which Evil Dead is usually pretty good about being like everyone is doomed. This one didn't really have that. This one had women are going to get fucked up on camera. Good Lord. Men, mostly off camera. One entirely off camera. You just kind of see blood splatter at a different dude. Self-inflicted violence, you get a little bit of that, of man on that, but it just wasn't the same. Like, the women just get fucking brutalized. One in particular, there is a woman who gets just face smashed like Obsession, like The Beast in Me, like... Why are we smashing so many women's faces to bits? Male directors? My wife pointed that out to me, and it is stuck in my head ever since she mentioned it. Why do we keep doing that? What a weird fucking trend we're on right now. Fucking stop. It's gross. It's like 3 in the last, year and a half? That's weird. Knock it off. I didn't really like that. The girl in the car sequence was fine, but again, it was like, the sequence was intense as fuck and really, really well shot and crazy and intense, but the dad just beating the fuck out of this woman was just I don't know. It just didn't feel even to me. And that's like, you go to like 2013 and like the idiot who reads the book, holy fuck, does he get the shit kicked out of him constantly. He dies like 3 times and comes back to life and he's like, man, I can still do it. And then nope, he can't. This one didn't really have any of that. Like, it has like the main character dude, I'm forgetting his name. But he gets tossed around like a rag doll. But again, it's usually like he flies through the frame, or he gets like knives go in his back when he falls on the, you've probably seen it in the trailer, when he falls on the back of the dishwasher thing where they loaded their entire dishwasher, forks and knives up, which is like, come, no one does that. Get the fuck out of here. Like, that's such a blatant, like, that is such lazy horror movie bullshit. So not a fan of that. But like, again, he kind of leans on it, and then the Deadite comes and leans on him, but it's that he gets it fine. So it didn't really do anything. He's in the rest of the movie until he's not. I don't know. I just didn't really, it just kind of left a weird taste in my mouth. So not a huge fan of that. My camera's going nuts. I apologize if that's super obvious. Beyond that, I didn't really care for the setting of this one. They make it seem like it's this very wealthy family. The husband, Crispy Fuckface, he owns his own like nightclub restaurant sort of thing, and he's just an abusive fuckhead, if I hadn't mentioned that earlier. And then the family left their grandfather's house to his brother, and it just looks like a shithole. And I didn't really get why. Like, he just wasn't taking care of it, I guess. But there's not taking care of your house, and then there's letting it get dilapidated around you. And that's where they were at. And it was kind of like immersion breaking, if you will. It just, like, why is it such a shithole? Like, does this guy just suck? Like, why are we rooting for him? And then upstairs, he's, like, writing a book based on his grandpa's findings, and his grandpa was the dude who read the Necronomicon and all those recordings that we've heard. But they don't really do anything with that. They just use it to make a MacGuffin knife, which I know there's been the knife before in Evil Dead, I'm aware. This one isn't the same one. It's like a little 1-inch pokey dagger blade, which is like cool. But they just kind of made it weird. Like, the whole movie is about the Deadites coming to find that knife so they can destroy the knife so they can take over the world. Okay. It just, and they start the movie out with that too, like some dialogue of like, I found a way to stop them, but you can never open this thing, because if you open it, they will come for you. And then he opens it, of course. But there's also, they don't really ever do that, we need to go find it, because they do that, they're going to come find it as soon as you release the thing from this casing. Okay, got it. But then she kills, the girl from the first movie kills the brother. Sorry, I'm all over the place on this. Kills the crispy fuckhead, and she's like, oh, we found you. Now lead us to your family. And it's like, what? So are you coming for the knife, or are you coming for the family? Which one is it? And they kind of flip-flop back and forth through that. They flip-flop through a lot of things. At one point, the crispy fuckface's mom gets like made out with by a Deadite, and then she's like half Deadite. Like, at one point they start beating up her son, and she's like, no, you promised me you wouldn't do that, but she's also a Deadite. Swing and a miss. All that to say, the last thing I got to talk about before I get done ranting about this movie, the after credit sequence. Mom from Rise is back, and I see a lot of people like getting really fucking excited about this. I have problems with it. Like, I know logic in Evil Dead is like as worthless as logic in a Phantasm movie, but at the same time, I saw that lady get fed into a wood chipper, man. Like, wood chipper. And as far as I'm concerned, the Deadites and the people are separate entities. They use the husk of the person because they can use their memories to fuck with people around them, but they are not that person. They never have been, at least as far as I'm concerned. So I get it, new rules, new director, all that, that's fine. But she just shows up. So they're back at some funeral home. Little girl looks at her ashes, looks in a mirror and sees her standing there, and they do that whole like E.T. touch, and they touch fingers. Then suddenly she's in the room with her, and she snaps the little girl's neck as if you didn't get enough, just like weird woman violence. Here's another one, and then she's like, "Mommy's back," and everyone's like, "Yay, mom's back!" I'm like, she was hamburger, like hamburger. She merged with her children to form a rat king deadite, and then got fed into a wood chipper. How did she come back, and why did she come back? Like, who's that deadite going after? What was the point of that? It really just soured my already sour mood on this thing. All in all, I think this movie was a big swing and a miss with some really, really creative, really, really well shot set pieces. And I'm not sad that I saw it. Is that a review? I'm not sad I saw it, but I don't really ever want to go back to it. Like, what a letdown. What a big old steamy pile of poo letdown. Will I go see Wrath is the question. I don't know. I read a thing online that said this movie is about coming of age sexually. That was on Reddit, so hopefully that's wrong. Because if that's what the movie's about, fuck it, I'm out. Like, no, I don't need to see that in an Evil Dead movie. Like, fuck, weird energy in that tagline. So I'm hoping that's wrong, because it's Reddit. What can you fucking believe on Reddit? If it's not, well, it has been a fun ride, Evil Dead. I hope you ride off into the sunset happily with the fans you have left, because I'm going to be taking my exit on that one. Not to say there hasn't been great Evil Dead stuff out there. The original movie is still phenomenal. 2 is still one of my favorite movies of all time. Army of Darkness is an absolute must-see classic. Ash vs. Evil Dead, blast of a TV show. Highly recommend it to everybody. I'm a big Evil Dead fan. Very, very big Evil Dead fan. And like it is with any big franchise, when it gets to this far down the road, this long in the tooth, this whatever you want to call it, you're going to start shedding some people, because you're going to get some new creative voices in there. They're going to do something that will work for some people and not for others. And unfortunately, this one was the not for me camp. But if you dug it, awesome. And I'm glad you did, because I am all for liking things. I'm tired of hating things. There's too much fucking negativity out in the world, and I realize I say that after just ripping this one to pieces. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I'm alone on this island of disliking it, because more things need to be loved. And clearly, some people put a lot of hard work into this thing. So there you go. There you have it. Evil Dead Burn, a solid 3 out of 10 for me. And I will see you on the next one.